So, we're back with Steve Furlonger, who is, well, I'm going to say you're one of the best coaches in the world with the driver. Just getting golfers to perform better with this club, be it straighter, longer. We're going to talk about some power leaks. So think of it this way. Most of you watching this are going to have the potential to hit the ball much further and probably much straighter than you currently do. But there are things within your technique which leak power. And we're going to kind of fix those in this video. So we're going to talk about some quite interesting topics. The last one, I think, is really going to surprise you. We're going to talk about hitting it up on the ball and why actually it might be harming your game. But the first fault we're going to talk about, I actually demonstrated it in that first swing. So maybe you watched it, have a look. If you spotted it, drop down in the comments box, let me know. Steve, what was the fault?
Well, firstly, I nearly fell asleep waiting for you to move the club.
When I was over the ball. I did as well, actually.
And I see this all the time. Very static, very rigid address positions. Maybe the focus is on something backswing, positional, but we don't see that in the best players. We see freedom, we see flow, getting into a state of flow, not only in mind, but in body, okay?
So if I set up this golf ball and then I sort of keep that club moving this way, I lift it up a little bit of a back and forth, and I really feel like my grip pressure's light and there's no tension through my forearms, that's a waggle, right?
Yeah. So
is that correct?
Yeah, that's all okay when it comes to the handle and moving the handle and the kind of the kinetics and forces in the handle and creating some flow in the grip end. I'd like you to create some flow in the feet and the ground end. So I'd like some little bit of motion, not just here, because this is all this is doing is this bit. Yeah. I'd like a little bit of movement left to right with the body, and I don't want you necessarily opening and closing the body, rotating it, just some steps, some movements, some little motion of the arm, maybe the arms forwards and backwards, and just allow the player to create flow and freedom of motion. And believe me, it unlocks positions of the golf swing that you would never achieve before trying to work statically and hold, because you'd be surprised how fluid the club moves and how well you move the club through the backswing. So moving the feet, moving the body, being quite dynamic laterally. So towards target, away from target, towards target, away from target, and get a feel and a timing of that, okay? And then there's that kind of almost final motion, yeah, a little bit of left to right, and then off we go. Okay. But what we're gonna do with this drill is that when you move that, so if you get yourself ready and you'll be waggling this, so you're waggling and moving, okay? What I want you to do, I want you to move the club forwards, and then I want you some flow with the body away from the forward moving club, and then off you go. Okay. Okay.
So if I was to sort of do some practice and sort of walk in and position my feet, I should never really feel like there's anything that's static.
No, not like they're being super glued, like
constant flow.
Yeah, or in a barrel of cement, which we've heard many of these kind of stuff before. The body needs to be dynamic and moving. So lift it above the tee, forwards with the club, away with the body, and go. Yeah, lovely.
You know, potentially a lot of people watching this and working on driver, it's almost they're being too precise. They're trying to overthink it, and you've got to maybe do some swing work if you need that. But what we spoke about in that first video, in this video, is actually sort of making some really nice fluid movements, making sort of potentially more movements than what they think they should. Yeah. You know, allowing someone to have that freedom of, you know, if you want to lift the feet, if you want to sort of, you know, bump the weight across, and then it's actually, it feels like it's giving me a lot of freedom to swing the club. Just a quick one. Steve's kindly given up his time today to help me with my swing and help you. Steve, if these people want to find out more about you, where can they go?
YouTube, Steve Furlonger Golf Performance, and you'll see me daily on Instagram at SF Golf Perform.
Perfect. Go and check Steve out, and back to the video. So Steve, our second place where a lot of golfers are leaking power, losing yards is?
Hand speed and the timings of hand speed.
Okay. Yeah. What do you want to do first?
Well, we're going to use an app to measure it.
Okay,
very, very important.
Here. Yep.
So, and I want you to try and get your hands at their fastest speed at impact.
Okay.
That possibly has killed somebody on Godson High Street, number one. I mean, if you just want to look at how far right that's gone 100 yards right. But that was you trying to get your hands at their fastest at impact, which most people are trying to do.
They are.
Okay. We need the hands to be at their fastest way before that. Okay. So it should be just below when the left arm is parallel or horizontal in the downswing. Okay, so that's where we see the fastest players, the best players, are getting hand speed somewhere just around, just a little bit lower than that. Okay. And then their hands are slowing down going into impact, but the head is speeding up. Yeah. We want head speed at impact, not hand speed at impact.
Okay. So it'd be interesting to get you guys to drop down into the comments box and just let us know your thoughts there. So obviously on that swing, I tried to get my hands to accelerate through the ball, and I probably did.
Yeah.
But you can see there it says it was late. And what Steve's saying is the hands need to be the fastest around about here in the goal swing. So it'd be interesting just to drop down and let us know whether that's something you knew or whether that's new information. So how are we going to train this, Steve? How are they going to kind of feel it in their goal swings?
So I'm going to use a training aid
Yep.
because more importantly, you want to see something quite straight visually to see it and understand it, but also a noise. You could make something like this.
Yep.
Okay, so you would just get a toilet roll. I'd get an old shaft, buy
Yep.
an old shaft for your club that fits your club
Yep.
on eBay, and then get like a toilet roll and slide it up that shaft
Yep.
before you've attached it to the head. Wrap it with some duct tape
Yep.
of sorts to make it
Heavier.
a little bit rigid and
Yep.
quite heavy. And then attach that to your club so it slides.
Perfect.
We want to get this to kick and to make this hit this end at impact.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so if I drag that, so if I do the exact what you just did and
That first
demonstrated
thing,
on
yeah.
that shot, that would be like that.
Yeah, it doesn't. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people watching this are trying to do that. Like that's their concept, you know, like get the hands in front
Yeah.
and hold the lag for as long as they can.
Yeah. And they may be releasing their wrist and doing some funky stuff with their elbows, but they're still trying to get the hands the speed
Yeah,
up. Yeah, the segments around it are kind of moving, but they're driving that way, where actually they want to release it and get it to line up. So we use this and get this to pop,
So I feel like I've got to go
Yep.
into the ground and then,
release it.
is that too early?
Yep, too early. Try and fill that a little bit late, so we want to get that pop right down the bottom here.
So I get if I show what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did in that first swing, was I was really trying to say, like Steve said, trying to drive these hands, and it's just going to not.
Yeah,
not
not
gonna
going to
kick
allow
out,
you
is
to
it?
get that head speed.
So on that first driver hit, we had 24, just over 24 miles an hour hand speed.
Yep.
So I'm going to hit one now, and it'd be interesting because we could probably get much more than 107 club speed
Yep.
without really the hand speed increasing that much, but hopefully by
And
timing
we have the
it
timings
better.
of it because it's saying slightly late, so
Okay.
we're going to change that timing.
Okay. Yeah. So 25. So only just 1 mile an hour quicker, but 180 mile an hour club speed, and the hand speed was in the right place. That's still a little bit late. Could have done it earlier.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. So my hands travelled around about 1 mile an hour quicker, and the club travelled 11 miles an hour quicker, and it was straighter.
Getting speed from the grip end out to the head end.
Yeah. Third area. This one might surprise a few because so many of these will have been told that hitting up on it is essential with the drive. You've got to hit up on it, Steve. Why is it potentially harming their games at the moment?
So we understand hitting up on it is helping with the launch. However, what's not considered is the resultant path. The resultant path of the club, because of the upward attack angle, is moving the club left. I can just show this with this kind of hula hoop, which is quite cool.
Yeah,
But if we was to hit on the upward part of this hula hoop, you can see that it's actually pointing in.
Yeah.
Okay? Down is pointing right. So therefore, if we're in this bit, we're actually making the path more left, which is effectively can create more of a curve
Yeah.
on the golf ball and a bigger slice. We would have to move the base of this hula hoop to match the upward bit out to the right some, because then this bit is pointing to where we want it. So it would change the resultant path to be more of a zero path.
Yeah.
But we may want to be more right for a draw.
Yeah.
Or we could use that, understanding that we could actually hit a very effective fade from it as well.
Yeah. So if I'm a golfer who's got a natural fade and I just try and push the ball forward, tip my body away and hit up on it, I'm potentially slicing it more.
We're creating a bigger left path, which is then, I always talk path is the ball's kind of spin or curve ability. We're increasing the curve ability on the golf ball, which we want to bring that down. So understand that if we want to hit up, great. We just might need to nudge that swing and feel that the swing's a bit more out to the right to counter it.
Yeah. So hitting up is good, provided we can get a few other things in place.
Yeah.
Have we got like a really simple exercise?
I'm going to get your head cover, okay?
Yeah.
So we generally put this sort of head cover, one head cover width away from the ball, length away from the ball.
Yeah.
But what I might do is just sort of take a golf ball inside your tee and just bring this cover so it's a little bit more out to the right.
Yeah.
So then that'll encourage, visually you're seeing, not only have you got to rise up, okay, but also the motion we're feeling is the club is out to the right.
Perfect.
It will feel like that, but we know because it's upward journey, it's bending away from it.
Yeah.
Okay, but it will feel like that. So that's a really good one, just putting it slightly to the right for a right-handed golfer of the path.
If you just stay more face down the line, Joe, I'll just try and demonstrate what Steve's saying there. So if I try and swing out to the right, the low point might happen before the ball, then I feel right, but then the club starts to arc, and it's actually kind of pretty straight towards the camera. But to me, it's going to feel like it's up over that head cover. So I love this because anyone can do that.
Yeah.
We've all got
head
covers. Haven't we?
Absolutely.
We'll go to the range, the practice area. So my feel would be up and over the head cover.
Yeah.
Which is the up and the right element.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So you're going to be losing power through being too static at the start, by accelerating the hands too late, and by hitting up but not offsetting that with a slight right movement. So if you can work on those three things, you can tap into yardages that you thought you'd lost. It's going to make the game more fun. Steve, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Chris.
Make sure you check out all Steve's channels that you saw earlier in the video.